With Election Day less than 50 days away, President Trump found himself in front of a different audience, uncommitted voters in the swing state of Pennsylvania. And for the very latest, we go to ABC's chief White House correspondent, Jonathan Karl, who was in the room with the president in Philadelphia. John?
Juju, on balance, this was, I think, a pretty good event for Donald Trump. He got to show another side of himself, an empathetic side, talking about the incredible death toll from COVID-19. This was something we rarely see from the president. That said, he also said again that he has absolutely no regrets for anything about the way he handled the crisis. He wouldn't do anything differently. And he said some things that are sure to generate controversy. During one exchange with a pastor from here in Philadelphia, an African-American pastor, the president said, well, I hope there's not a race problem in America. And he had a back and forth that was very interesting on the subject of race. He also said that he believes the virus would go away even if there wasn't a vaccine. That's something that I am sure many health professionals will disagree with. But Juju, on balance, an interesting town hall, a rare chance to see the president truly interacting with uncommitted voters.
Thanks, John. Tonight's 90-minute town hall, moderated by our own George Stephanopoulos, covered a wide range of topics, sometimes raising more questions than answers.
Why don't you support a mandate for national mask wearing?
At times, some have called your behavior not presidential. What, if anything, would you do differently if reelected?
I'd like to ask regarding your recent comments about our United States soldiers and referring to them as suckers. How do you expect to win back the support of our military, their families, their friends, and military supporters?
It's easy because I never made those statements. They were never made by me.
President Trump tonight taking questions directly from uncommitted voters, all socially distanced, at the National Constitution Center in Philadelphia. For the president and the people, a 2020 special. With the pandemic putting the president's re-election in jeopardy, Trump has come under fire for downplaying the virus. Tonight, the president refuting those claims.
Well, I didn't downplay it. I actually, in many ways, I upplayed it in terms of action. My action was very strong.
All through January and February, you were downplaying, by your own admission, the severity of the crisis, that you didn't want to panic people.
Not downplaying.
But let me just finish the question first.
Not downplaying.
Well, you said those are your words.
I don't want to drive our nation into a panic.
But in the early days of COVID-19, President Trump telling the public that the virus would simply go away, contrary to what most public health experts believe.
You know, a lot of people think that goes away in April with the heat.
The president doubling down on that message tonight.
It is going to disappear. It's going to disappear.
But not if we don't take action, correct?
No, I still say it. It's going to disappear, George. We're going to be okay, and it is going away. And it's probably going to go away now a lot faster because of the vaccine. It would go away without the vaccine, George, but it's going to go away a lot faster with the vaccine. It would go away
without the vaccine?
Sure, over a period of time. Sure, with time it goes away.
And many deaths.
A new ABC News Ipsos poll showing an overwhelming 65% of Americans disapprove of the president's handling of the pandemic, with only 35% approving.
We still are dealing with 195,000 deaths in the United States right now. When you see that, when you think about that, does that give you any pause? Does it make you think, is there anything I could have done differently? Anything?
I think we could have had 2 million deaths if we didn't close out the country.
So you regret nothing?
No, I think we did a great job.
Another point of contention tonight, race relations. After months of unrest across the country, with protesters calling for systemic change, racial justice, and police reform, Philadelphia pastor Carl Day confronting the president.
You've coined the phrase, "Make America Great Again."
Right.
When has America been great for African Americans in the ghetto of America? Are you aware of how tone deaf that comes off to African American community?
Well, I can say this. We have tremendous African-American support. You've probably seen it in the polls. We're doing extremely well with African-American, Hispanic-American at levels that you've rarely seen a Republican have.
Despite the president's claim, recent polling shows his support among likely black voters is between 5 and 11%.
But you have yet to address and acknowledge that there's been a race problem in America.
So if you go, well, I hope there's not a race problem. I can tell you there's none with me, because I have great respect for all races, for everybody.
But a lot of people look at the statistics. Black Americans more than 3 times more likely than white Americans to be killed by police. And that indicates that this just isn't bad apples. This just isn't choking. This is a real systemic, endemic problem. Do you believe that? What will you do to address it?
They want more police. They want protection. They suffer more than anybody else by bad police protection. All minorities, whether it's Hispanic or black or Asian, they suffer more than anybody else, George. We have to give the police back the authority to stop crime.
But how do you stop police killing blacks at 3 times the rate of killing whites?
I can only say this, that the police in this country have done generally a great job. There are crimes, there are problems, and there are chokers. They choke under pressure. I mean, they have 1/4 of a second to make a decision. And sometimes they make a wrong decision, and that's a terrible thing.
The president sidestepping racial justice, shifting instead to his law and order message.
In the light of the ongoing protests surrounding the deaths of George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, and the recent shooting of Jacob Blake, do you feel racial injustices are occurring in this nation? And if so, what can be done to address them?
Well, I think they were tragic events, and I do feel that we have to also take into consideration that if you look at our police, they do a phenomenal job.
Another issue on the forefront of voters' minds, health care, and specifically coverage of pre-existing conditions.
With co-pays, I'm still paying almost $7,000 a year in addition to the co-pay, and should pre-existing conditions, which Obamacare brought to fruition, be removed?
No.
Please stop and let me finish my question, sir. I want to know what it is that you're going to do to assure that people like me who work hard, we do everything we're supposed to do, can stay insured. It's not my fault that I was born with this disease.
So, first of all, I hope you are taken seriously. I hope you are. And we are not going to hurt anything having to do with pre-existing conditions. We're not going to hurt pre-existing conditions. And in fact, just the opposite. If you look at what they want to do, where they have socialized medicine, they will get rid of pre-existing conditions. If they go into Medicare for All, which is socialized medicine, and you can forget about your doctors and your plans, just like you could forget under President Obama.
Joe Biden has ran against Medicare for All in the primaries, but much more importantly, Obamacare guaranteed people with pre-existing conditions could buy insurance, guaranteed they could buy it at the same price as everyone else, guaranteed a package of essential benefits, guaranteed that insurance companies couldn't put a lifetime limit on those benefits. You fought to repeal Obamacare. You are arguing.
Well, I essentially did.
You're arguing in the Supreme Court right now to strike it down. That would do away with pre-existing conditions.
So that we can do new health care.
But you've been promising a new health care plan. I interviewed you in June of last year. You said the health care plan would come in 2 weeks. You told Chris Wallace that this summer it would come in 3 weeks. You promised an executive order on pre-existing.
I have it already.
But you've been trying to strike down pre-existing conditions.
I have it already, and it's a much better plan for you, and it's a much better plan.
With 49 days until Election Day, the president trying to close the chapter on the pandemic.
Could you have done more to stop it?
I don't think so. I think what I did by closing up the country, I think I saved 2, maybe 2.5, maybe more than that lives. I really don't think so. I think we did a very good job. I don't know if that's been recognized. We've made a lot of governors feel good. We've made some reputationally, we've enhanced their reputation. They didn't have anything. We got them the supplies, we got them the ventilators. We've made a lot of people look good that shouldn't look good, to be honest with you.
We're out of time, Mr. President. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.